Absolutely. Here is H3000. Word YouTube narration script, rewritten for stronger pacing, suspense, emotion, and retention while keeping the central Cincinnati/Alex Eala storyline. ESPN confirms it. Alex Eala is Cincinnati's biggest crowd magnet. Filipino fans take over. Something extraordinary is happening in Cincinnati. And for once, the biggest story at the tournament isn't a spectacular forehand, a shocking upset, or a dramatic match point. It's the crowd. It's the flags. It's the chants. It's the thousands of Filipino fans who have turned the Cincinnati Open into something that looks less like a traditional tennis tournament and more like a national celebration. And at the center of it all is one name: Alex Eala. The 21-year-old Filipina hasn't simply arrived in Cincinnati to play tennis. She has arrived with an entire community behind her. And now, according to the coverage surrounding the tournament, the Eala phenomenon has become impossible to ignore. The most remarkable part? Alex doesn't even need to win the tournament for the impact to be felt. Before some of her biggest matches, fans are already planning trips. Friends are organizing reunions. Supporters are driving for hours. People are traveling from different states. And Philippine flags are appearing throughout the stands. This is the Eala effect. And Cincinnati may have just become its latest and loudest chapter. The moment Cincinnati realized this was different when Alex Eala's name appeared on the Cincinnati Open entry list, tournament officials knew they had a rising star coming to town. But what they apparently didn't anticipate was the scale of the reaction. Cincinnati is no stranger to major tennis stars. The tournament has welcomed some of the biggest names in the history of the sport: Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, Serena Williams. Champions, legends, former world number ones, and Grand Slam winners have all walked onto these courts. But something about Alex Eala is different. Her popularity isn't being driven solely by ranking. It isn't based purely on Grand Slam titles. And it certainly isn't limited to hardcore tennis fans. Her appeal comes from something much bigger: community. The Filipino community has rallied around Alex in a way that is becoming increasingly difficult for the tennis establishment to overlook. And Cincinnati has become another example. Fans aren't simply buying tickets because they want to watch a good tennis match. They're buying tickets because they want to see Alex Eala. That distinction matters, because it means her value isn't dependent entirely on the opponent standing on the other side of the net. Her presence itself has become an attraction. That's an extraordinary development for a player who is still only 21. ESPN takes notice, and this is where the story gets even more interesting. The Eala phenomenon isn't just something fans are talking about on social media. Major sports media organizations have been paying attention. ESPN has highlighted the growing importance of Alex Eala, particularly the way her popularity extends beyond the tennis court. That's a critical point, because Alex's impact isn't simply about how many matches she wins. It's about who watches those matches. It's about who becomes interested in tennis because of her. And it's about whether young Filipinos who previously had little connection to tennis now see someone who looks like them competing on some of the biggest stages in the world. That could be Alex's most important legacy. Not one ranking, not one trophy, not one tournament, but an entire generation discovering tennis because they discovered Alex Eala. Imagine being a young Filipino child watching television and seeing thousands of people waving the Philippine flag inside a major international tennis stadium. Imagine hearing commentators discuss Alex. Imagine seeing Filipino fans traveling thousands of miles to support her. For that child, tennis suddenly doesn't feel like somebody else's sport. It feels personal. It feels possible. And that is precisely why the Eala phenomenon could become much bigger than tennis. The fans are doing something incredible. The stories coming from Cincinnati make this even more remarkable. Some supporters have reportedly planned trips around Alex's matches. One group of college friends organized a reunion around the opportunity to watch Eala compete.
Think about that.
These friends are scattered around the United States. Life has taken them in different directions, different jobs, different cities, different schedules. But they found a reason to reunite. Alex Eala. Their reunion wasn't centered around a beach vacation. It wasn't centered around a birthday. It wasn't centered around a traditional holiday. It was tiered around tennis. And more specifically, around one Filipina tennis player. Then there's the fan who watched Alex in Toronto and reportedly drove approximately 8 hours to Cincinnati. 8 hours. That's an entire day's journey for many people. And yet, for that supporter, it was worth it. Because Alex Eala wasn't simply another athlete passing through town. She was someone worth following. Someone worth sacrificing time and money to see. Someone who represented something bigger. That is what makes the Eala effect so fascinating. You can't manufacture that kind of loyalty. You can't simply purchase it through advertising. You can't create it with a marketing campaign. It happens organically. A player connects with people. People connect with a player. And eventually something much bigger forms. A movement. The Philippine flags are everywhere. If you've watched footage from Alex's matches during this North American hardcourt swing, you've probably noticed something immediately. The flags. Philippine flags everywhere. Blue, red, white, yellow. Fans holding them. Fans wearing them. Fans draping them over their shoulders. Fans creating homemade signs. And, of course, fans chanting. The atmosphere can become dramatically different when Alex walks onto the court. Tennis traditionally has a reputation for being relatively quiet. Players serve. Fans wait. The point begins. Silence. Then applause. But Alex's matches have introduced something different. A more emotional atmosphere. A more communal atmosphere. Sometimes the energy resembles a basketball game. And that's exactly why some players and commentators have taken notice. Because when an opponent walks onto the court against Alex Eala, they're not simply playing Alex. They're playing in front of Alex's crowd. And that creates a psychological element. Amanda Anisimova understood that. Before facing Eala in Cincinnati, the American star acknowledged the incredible atmosphere surrounding Alex. She knew exactly what was coming. A packed stadium. Thousands of Filipino supporters. A crowd that would almost certainly be rooting overwhelmingly for the Filipina. And instead of complaining about it, Anisimova embraced the challenge. She said she loved packed stadiums. She loved a great atmosphere. And she was looking forward to experiencing it. That response says a lot. Because the Eala effect isn't necessarily something opponents resent. Sometimes they appreciate being part of it. Even the opponents can feel the magic. This is one of the most beautiful parts of the entire story. Alex's popularity doesn't just affect fans. It affects the players. Rennie Stubbs, the former doubles world #1 and former coach of Serena Williams, has discussed the atmosphere surrounding Eala's matches. And her comments were fascinating. Stubbs pointed out that some Filipino supporters are still relatively new to tennis. They may not always understand every traditional rule of tennis etiquette. They might cheer at unusual moments. They might become extremely loud. They might react emotionally to points. But Stubbs didn't view that as a problem. She saw it as evidence of something powerful. People are discovering tennis. They're learning. They're becoming invested. They're finding their way into the sport through Alex Eala. And that's exactly what tennis needs. A sport doesn't grow simply because existing fans watch more matches. It grows when new people start caring. That's the real opportunity. And Alex has opened a door. The Serena comparison. Stubbs went even further. She suggested that the atmosphere surrounding Alex could remind players of what it was like to face Serena Williams in New York. That's an enormous comparison. Serena wasn't simply a tennis player. She was an event. When Serena played in New York, the atmosphere could become overwhelming. The crowd had an emotional connection with her. People weren't simply watching tennis. They were watching history. Alex Eala is obviously still building her career. She is not Serena Williams. No one should pretend otherwise. But the comparison isn't necessarily about achievements. It's about atmosphere. It's about the feelings surrounding a player. And that's where the comparison becomes interesting. When Alex walks onto a court, thousands of people may suddenly feel that they are part of something. And that is incredibly valuable. The dinosaur fan, then there's the story that perfectly captures the personality of the Eala fan army. The dinosaur.
Yes,
A Filipino supporter appeared in an inflatable blue dinosaur costume with a Philippine flag draped over him. And he wasn't sitting quietly.
He was dancing. He was celebrating.
He was shaking his body. He was making the entire stadium laugh. And Alex noticed. She didn't ignore him. She didn't dismiss the craziness. She embraced it. She even described him as a perfect fan. That moment tells you something important about Alex. She understands the relationship. She knows that the people in the stands aren't just spectators. They're part of her journey. They are creating memories with her. And she appreciates them. That makes the connection stronger. Because fans don't simply want athletes to win. They want athletes to recognize them. They want to feel seen. And Alex does that. Filipino humor has entered the WTA. The Eala phenomenon has even created its own vocabulary. Filipino supporters have developed playful ways to describe Alex's game. One of the most famous examples is the humorous nicknames surrounding her serve. Her service motion has sometimes been described as unconventional. But instead of being embarrassed by the criticism, Alex's supporters turned it into an inside joke. And now the joke has traveled beyond Filipino social media. It's being discussed in tennis conversations. That might sound like a small thing. It isn't. It shows that fans aren't simply consuming Alex's matches. They're building a culture around them. They have jokes. They have chants. They have memes. They have traditions. They have stories. And that's how fandom becomes something bigger. Why Filipinos connect with Alex. To understand why this has become so powerful, you have to look beyond tennis. Millions of Filipinos live outside the Philippines. They work abroad. They build families abroad. They create communities abroad. They carry their culture with them. But sometimes, living overseas can create a strange feeling. You belong somewhere, but you're also far away from home. Then someone like Alex Eala appears, a young Filipina, competing internationally, representing the Philippines, speaking proudly about her roots, wearing the flag, acknowledging her supporters. Suddenly, people who are thousands of miles away from the Philippines have someone they can rally around. Alex becomes a symbol, a reminder of home, a source of pride, and, perhaps most importantly, proof that someone from the Philippines can stand on the biggest stages in the world. That emotional connection can't be measured simply through ticket sales. But ticket sales are one way you can see it. The business side of the Eala effect now, let's talk about the part that makes tournament executives pay attention. Money. Because passion is wonderful. But sports organizations also have to run businesses. And Alex Eala's popularity creates an economic opportunity. Tickets, merchandise,
Food.
hotels, transportation, broadcast audiences, social media engagement,
Sponsors.
Every additional fan represents potential revenue. And if fans are willing to travel long distances and pay premium prices to watch Alex, tournaments have an incentive to bring her back. This is why the Eala effect could become extremely important for the WTA. Tournament organizers don't just want champions. They want attractions. They want players who can put people in seats. They want athletes who can create television audiences. They want stars who can connect with new demographics. And Alex appears to be doing exactly that. The Toronto warning Cincinnati didn't happen in isolation. Toronto provided the warning. Alex's matches attracted enormous crowds. Filipino supporters filled sections of the stadium. Organizers recognized that demand was unusually high. Her matches became events. And other players noticed. Jessica Pegula famously experienced the Eala crowd during her run against the Filipina and later acknowledged just how unusual the atmosphere was. The same thing happened in Washington. Alex's presence created enormous interest. The crowd support became part of the story. Then Cincinnati arrived. And suddenly, the pattern was impossible to ignore. Toronto, Washington, Cincinnati. Different tournaments. Different cities. Same phenomenon. Alex Eala brings people. Alex herself knows this is special. Perhaps the most interesting part is that Alex doesn't seem to take any of it for granted. She has acknowledged that the experience can sometimes feel heavy. Imagine being 21 years old and walking into a stadium knowing thousands of people have traveled specifically to watch you. That's pressure. If you lose, They feel disappointed. If you win, the celebration becomes enormous. Every result gets amplified. Every match becomes an event. Every tournament becomes a potential headline. Alex has admitted that there are moments when the attention feels heavy, but there are also moments when it is fun. And she understands one important thing. None of this happened overnight. She worked for it. Years of training, early mornings, travel, losses, injuries, difficult matches, moments when nobody outside the Philippines knew her name. She earned the opportunity to stand in Cincinnati and hear thousands of people chanting. That's why she can appreciate it. From a 4-year-old girl to Cincinnati's biggest draw, Alex Eala started playing tennis when she was just 4 years old. At that age, nobody could have predicted what would eventually happen. She wasn't guaranteed a professional career. She wasn't guaranteed international fame. She wasn't guaranteed to become a star. She simply loved tennis. Then came the junior achievements, the breakthrough, the development, the international tournaments, the big wins, the difficult losses, and eventually the moment that changed everything. Her run in Miami. Suddenly, the world was watching. She defeated established stars. She demonstrated that she belonged. And the conversation changed. People stopped asking, "Who is Alex Eala?" They started asking, "How far can Alex Eala go?" That is a completely different question. The Miami moment changed everything. Miami was where many fans first discovered Alex. She wasn't supposed to become the story of the tournament, but she did. She defeated major opponents. She played fearless tennis. She showed personality. And Filipino fans responded. Suddenly, there were huge crowds. Suddenly, there were flags. Suddenly, people who had never watched tennis were watching. That was the beginning of the Eala effect as a global phenomenon. And it has only grown since then. Washington added another chapter. Toronto added another. Now Cincinnati. And if the trend continues, the next tournament could be even bigger. The match against Anisimova, which brings us back to Cincinnati. Amanda Anisimova was the opponent. A serious test. A player with major experience. A former teenage sensation. A Grand Slam finalist. A player who knows exactly what it takes to perform under enormous pressure. On paper, this was a fascinating matchup. But the real question wasn't simply, who would win? It was, what would the atmosphere look like? Because Anisimova knew what she was walking into. She knew the fans would be overwhelmingly behind Alex. She knew the stadium could become incredibly loud. She knew she was about to play a match where the emotional energy might feel completely different from a normal WTA contest. And instead of being intimidated, she welcomed it. That's the beauty of competition. A great atmosphere can push both players. It can raise the stakes. It can turn an ordinary match into an unforgettable event. And that's exactly what Alex has been doing, turning matches into events. The bigger question for tennis. Now we reach the most important question. What happens next? Because if Alex Eala continues to improve on court while maintaining this level of popularity off the court, the WTA may have something incredibly valuable. A global star. A player who connects Europe, North America, and Asia. A player who brings a massive Filipino audience into tennis. A player who can introduce children to the sport. A player who creates television interest. A player who generates social media engagement. And a player whose matches can become cultural events. That's rare. Extremely rare. And tennis should embrace it. Because the future of sports depends on finding new audiences. The sport can't survive forever by talking only to the same traditional fan base. It needs young fans. It needs new communities. It needs people who previously didn't care about tennis. Alex Eala is bringing them. The Eala effect is bigger than a tennis match. That's why Cincinnati matters. The flags matter. The college reunion matters. The 8-hour drive matters. The dinosaur costume matters. The chants matter. The packed stands matter. The media attention matters. And yes, the ticket numbers matter. Together, they tell one enormous story. Alex Eala has created something that goes beyond the scoreboard. She has created belonging. For Filipino fans, Watching Alex isn't simply entertainment. It's representation. It's pride. It's home. It's a chance to see someone from their community stand among the world's best. And that's why they keep showing up. They show up in Toronto. They show up in Washington. They show up in Cincinnati. And they'll show up wherever Alex goes next. The future could be even bigger, and here's the scary part for the rest of the tennis world. Alex is only 21. She's still developing. She's still learning. She's still improving. Her best tennis may still be ahead of her. If she continues climbing the rankings, the attention will only increase. If she reaches more Grand Slam second weeks, more quarterfinals, more semifinals, or perhaps eventually contends for major titles, the Eala effect could explode. Imagine this same crowd at the US Open. Imagine Philippine flags filling an entire section. Imagine thousands of fans traveling to New York. Imagine children watching from the Philippines and deciding they want to pick up a racket. Imagine young Filipino girls seeing Alex and thinking, maybe I can do that too. That's the real legacy. The tennis world is watching Cincinnati has become the latest evidence. Alex Eala is no longer simply a promising young player. She is becoming one of the most recognizable fan attractions in women's tennis. And ESPN's attention to the phenomenon only reinforces what fans have already known. The Eala effect is real. It is measurable. It is growing. And it is changing the atmosphere around the sport. The tennis establishment now has a choice. They can treat Alex's popularity as a temporary curiosity, or they can recognize what is happening. A new generation is entering tennis. A massive Filipino community is becoming emotionally invested. And Alex Eala is the bridge. The bridge between tennis and a new audience. The bridge between the Philippines and the international sporting world. The bridge between performance and cultural identity. That's why Cincinnati feels different. That's why the crowds feel different. That's why opponents notice. That's why tournament organizers notice. And that's why the tennis world is watching. Final thought: Alex Eala walked into Cincinnati as the 17th seed. But she didn't arrive alone. She brought thousands of supporters. She brought Philippine flags. She brought chants. She brought stories. She brought an entire culture into the stadium. And perhaps most importantly, she brought new people into tennis. The rankings will change. Opponents will change. Tournament results will change. But the movement that has started around Alex Eala could be much harder to stop. Because you can't easily stop people from believing. You can't stop families from buying tickets. You can't stop friends from planning reunions. You can't stop fans from driving 8 hours. You can't stop a child from picking up a tennis racket after watching Alex play. And you certainly can't stop an entire community from being proud of one of their own. Cincinnati has seen the Eala effect. Toronto saw it. Washington saw it. Miami saw it. Now the question is simple. Where does it go next? The US Open could be enormous. The Asian swing could be even bigger. And if Alex continues winning, the crowds may become louder, the flags may become more numerous, and the global attention may become impossible to contain. The tennis world thought it was watching the rise of another young player. Instead, it may be watching the beginning of an entirely new era of fandom. An era where tennis isn't just watched, it's celebrated. An era where an athlete isn't simply representing herself. She's representing millions. And an era where one young Filipina can walk onto a tennis court and make an entire stadium feel like home. That's the Eala effect. And Alex Eala? She's only getting started. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Alex Eala's incredible Cincinnati phenomenon, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter. And tell us in the comments, have you ever seen a tennis player create an atmosphere like this? Is Alex Eala becoming the biggest crowd magnet in women's tennis? And most importantly, how far can the Eala effect go?